And now I have the pleasure of introducing to you Dr. Wendy Wyatt, who is our Associate Vice Provost for Undergraduate Studies at St. Thomas. And Dr. Wyatt is with us this morning to talk with all of you about the unique value of your education at the University of St. Thomas. So welcome, Dr. Wyatt.
Good morning, everyone in the wings. Good morning, everyone in the center. On behalf of all of the faculty at St. Thomas, I am well and truly pleased to welcome you. Yes, you've heard it a couple times today already, welcome you home. For the next 4 years, you're going to be part of this incredibly special community of scholars. Now, I know each of you will have your own unique identities while you're here. We'll have student workers and student leaders, like the students you just saw, student journalists, student performers, like the leaders you just saw, student athletes, student activists, student ambassadors, like the students you just saw. But every one of you, every single one of you, will also be a scholar. You're going to have the time to ask questions about things that matter, to explore answers, to think, to ponder, to discuss. This is really a true gift, and I invite you to jump in with both feet. So what are we working toward in this community of scholars? Now, these are the learning outcomes that we have for all of our students, and they're embedded within our mission statement that begins with inspiration from Catholic intellectual tradition and ends with a commitment to advancing the common good. Now, I know there's a lot to take in on this slide. If you focus for just a minute on the bullet points in the middle, this speaks to what we think it means to think critically, act wisely, and work skillfully. For us, thinking critically is about what you'll know. We're going to help you develop knowledge that is integrated by allowing you to apply reasoning and critical thinking skills across disciplines. We'll also foster your curiosity and your creativity. Acting wisely is about who you are. You'll continue to develop your own ethical compass and a sense of self, but we're going to help you learn to apply global and diverse lenses to important issues. And we're going to give you opportunities to opt in really meaningful ways. Working skillfully is about what you can do. We'll give you both broad and deep skills. You'll become effective communicators who are prepared to work in an environment that is constantly changing. And we'll give you leadership skills that help move ideas forward. Now, all of this is a little bit abstract. Let me get more concrete for just a minute. When I talk to students about the philosophy of a St. Thomas education, I like to talk about it as a stool that's held up by 3 legs. And as you know, anything with 3 legs needs all 3 of them to keep it standing. You pull one away and the whole thing topples. So those legs of your St. Thomas education are your core courses, your major courses, and your electives. So our core curriculum is the experience that's shared by all of our undergraduate students. And it's something that helps make us distinctively a Catholic university. Here you'll have the opportunity to take courses in 9 broad subject areas, all of which are essential to truly understanding the world and the human condition. Here you'll get broad exposure to different disciplinary lenses, and you'll have a chance to apply those lenses to the issues and challenges of the day. This is where you become more than a journalist or an exercise scientist or a finance professional. And this is where you get to try out being a scholar through the lens of key disciplines in the liberal arts. Your major courses are where you take a deep dive and you become a specialist in one of more than 100 different things we offer at St. Thomas. This is where you start to call yourself a particular kind of scholar. Now, some of you may know what you want to major in right now. That's fabulous. You might be able to get started first thing in the fall. Some of you may think you know what you want to major in, and then once you get here and you get started and you start taking lots of courses, you'll change your mind. Believe me, that's fine too. It happens all the time. Some of you may not know at all what you want to major in. That's fine too. College is about figuring that out, and we have the resources and support to help you do that. So as you start to build these legs of the stool, you'll start to see the connections. You'll start to see the way knowledge fits together. I think you'll also start to see that big issues can't be tackled, that big problems can't be solved without this multidisciplinary perspective. Oops, I forgot to talk about elective courses. I'm just rocking and rolling here. Your elective courses are the third leg of the stool. That's where we give you a chance to explore. We're going to tell you what you need for your core. We're going to tell you what you need for your major. This is your chance to follow that curiosity, to follow that interest for at least a couple of courses. Okay, now we have all three legs, your core courses, your major courses, and your elective courses. And as you start to build that stool, you'll start to see the way those legs of the stool all help create a St. Thomas education that helps you think critically, act wisely, and work skillfully. And you'll start to see how it's all important to solving the issues and challenges of the day. So I want to give you an example based on an issue that I'm particularly interested in. So by the year 2050, 3/4 of the world's population will live in urban areas. And many of those people will live in cities of more than 10 million people, what we call megacities. In 1950, the world had 2 megacities, New York and Tokyo. By 2010, that number was 27, and it's continuing to grow. Harvard economist Edward Glaeser says that megacities are a big part of humanity's future. And that prospect should be both terrifying and exhilarating. So how do you bring a multidisciplinary perspective? How do you bring knowledge, values, and skills to this issue and the challenges and opportunities created by megacities? Well, I set out and I asked colleagues all around campus how they would approach this issue through the lens of their own discipline. And they wrote back and they gave me really eloquent and really thorough responses. I'm going to give you the soundbite version just to give you a little taste. And I'll show you some great pictures of megacities along the way. So this is Tokyo. And Dr. Tom Ippoliti from chemistry says, look at the extraordinary amount of light being emitted in Tokyo. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to produce that much light. A chemist would ask, how can I produce that light more efficiently? Here's Mumbai. And from history, Dr. Hassan Karadis says, cities collect and preserve memories of the best and the worst of humanity. Cities also shape history. They make and unmake empires and religions. They create art and curate it. They lead progress and decline, sometimes at the same time. Here's Sao Paulo. And from art history, Dr. Heather Shirey says, the built environment speaks to us. Through a study of the structure of the city, its parks and gardens, its buildings, bridges, and monuments, its sculptures and murals, we can come to understand the complex identities of a place. This is Lagos, and from theology, Dr. Amy Levad says, as a moral theologian, one of my key concerns is how we live out the preferential option for the poor, vulnerable, and marginalized. Can we build cities, both through design and through policy, that enable all people to participate in ways that contribute to their flourishing? This is Karachi, and from math, Dr. Mike Axtell says, cities are massively complex systems that require a great quantity and variety of external resources to be delivered in a timely fashion. Mathematics is getting pretty good at modeling what might happen to supply networks as we continually try to enlarge these systems. And you might recognize this city, another of the original megacities. From English, Dr. Amy Muse says, think of the stories told about megacities. Many of the imaginative visions in novels, films, and video games depict zombie apocalypses in such places. But let's think about this realistically. Will we become different humans? How can stories help us explain and explore the psychological and social traits that people will need in order to live successfully in megacities? Now, all of the examples I just gave you are from courses that you might take as part of your core curriculum, or potentially as part of your major if you're an art history or a chemistry student. But these ideas matter for students who are interested in our professional schools as well. So I've got just a couple more examples to share that relate to this picture of DACA. From business, Dr. Aaron Sockett says, business must increasingly think beyond local boundaries. Marketers, as just one example, must cater to local customs and needs while maintaining a consistent, overarching, sometimes global brand and message. From engineering, Dr. John Wentz says, engineers can design tools that provide for the needs of a massive number of people in a very dense area. St. Thomas engineering students are currently working on projects in vertical farming technology, alternative energy technologies, and smart grid technology. And from social work, Dr. Andy Nesmith says, social workers ask how individual clients interact with and are supported or hindered by their families, their neighborhoods, their schools and churches, their larger communities, and then their cities. It's this holistic context in which social workers intervene to help individuals, families, and communities. So here's my challenge to you. Be intentional about looking for these connections. Take what you learn in your physics class, and your art history class, and your English class, to your math class, and your economics class, and your philosophy class, and all of the other classes that you take. Think about how you can use every class as a chance to make sense of the world, to understand it better. And then take it a step further. Think about the issues and the challenges that you really care about. Think about the things that you want to be involved in solving or working with or presenting opportunities. I'm really excited to announce that St. Thomas was named an Ashoka Changemaker University earlier this year. We're one of only 40 universities in the world with this special designation, and what it means is that we're committed to using innovation to affect positive social change. So we'd love for you to join with us in this change making. All of this matters. It matters for your personal life, for the way you are in the world, for the way you move through it, for the way you leave it, ideally better than the way you found it. Now I get it. You might be thinking, this is fabulous. I'm totally with you on this change-making thing. I want to bring integrated knowledge to everything I do, but what I'm thinking about right now, sort of first and foremost, is that when I'm done with this fabulous adventure, I'm going to need a job. We get that. We all get it. And everything I've been talking about is important for your professional life too. Employers need people with good technical skills. They need computer scientists who can write code. They need accountants who can balance the books. They need engineers who can build and design bridges that stand the test of time. But employers are equally interested in things that have nothing to do with technical skills, the kinds of things that you see listed up on the screen. And these are the kinds of things that a St. Thomas education is really going to help you develop. I've heard from so many employers during my 15 years at St. Thomas how important all of these things are when they're out looking for new employees. So while I'm offering challenges, I'll give you just a couple of more. First is to open your mind. You heard a little bit about this in the skit earlier today. This is your chance to have worldview expanding experiences. You're going to be surrounded by people with different life stories, different knowledge bases, different skill sets and beliefs. Don't pass this by. As John Dewey said, it's only by subjecting our preferences and our projects to the test of debate that we come to understand what we know and what we still need to learn. Next is take full advantage. And here I'm talking about opportunities, and specifically academic opportunities. St. Thomas has a terrific commitment to undergraduate academic opportunities. We offer opportunities to you for many things that only graduate students would be able to do at other institutions. Now, some of the things on the screen may be familiar to you. You may, for example, already be thinking about studying abroad, where you want to go, how long you want to be gone, what you want to study. But we've got lots of opportunities, and some of them you may not be familiar with. You can start to learn about those today. Next is to push yourself. Don't take the path of least resistance, even when it's really tempting to do so, and it will be tempting to do that on occasion, I can promise you. So much of what you learn in college is up to you, and you have to push yourself to experience all college is worth. Next is own it. You've probably heard this before. College is different than high school. True. You're grown-ups. Yes. This is your degree. That's true. Your faculty are going to do their very best to teach you well, but ultimately this adventure is yours. And you'll have to do what you can to own it and to make it a success on your own. It seems like I shouldn't really have to say this at a college campus, but I think it's worth a reminder. Don't be afraid to be the smartest one in the class. You are on a college campus. We love intellectuals and scholars here. Many of your professors, now by no means all of them, but many of them were the smartest students in the class when they were in college. So don't be afraid to shine. But also, don't worry if you aren't the smartest student in the class. I can tell you with absolute confidence that professors enjoy working most with students who are invested in their learning, whether those students are A students or something else. I always pause for a moment at this slide because I think it really speaks for itself, but it's really true. Sometimes it's going to be hard. If it weren't hard, we as faculty wouldn't be doing our jobs. But when it is hard, my biggest piece of advice is that all of us need to take care of each other. You may have noticed in President Sullivan's video a reference to something called radical hospitality. This is the idea where we all truly care for one another, where we see each other as equally important members of a community, where we support one another, where we celebrate one another's accomplishments and we help each other up when we stumble. This is so critical to who we are as a community, and we want to model that kind of community. We think it's something that we hope to see out in the larger world. So make a commitment to yourself right now to engage in that same kind of radical hospitality that Dr. Sullivan spoke about. So what happens now? Today, take what I've said to heart, starting right now. This is a big day with a lot of information coming your way, and it can be a little overwhelming. But really try to take advantage of the day that you have to start to make connections with other students, with faculty members and staff members. Start exploring. If you saw something up on the screen that seemed interesting to you, make a point to find out more and ask questions. During lunch later today, you'll also have an opportunity to go to an information fair where we'll have programs and departments from all over campus and people standing at tables just dying to talk to you. So go up and say hi to them. Ask questions. If you don't have a question to ask, that's okay. You can just say, tell me more. Tell me about your program. Tell me about your department. Between now and when you come back on September 1st for Welcome Days, do me a couple more favors. First, take a look at the undergraduate catalog online and pay particular attention to the section on general information. That's where you'll find lots of important stuff on academic policy. And you'll need to know this. It's part of that owning your education. And it's good to at least give it a quick read before you get here so you'll know what those policies are all about. Start exploring department websites. If there's a major you're interested in, you can jump onto the website and learn more about the department and the classes in that major and the faculty who teach in that area. I would also encourage you to check out the website for the Center for Student Achievement, which is a great hub for all kinds of information for students. Students who are exploring, students who are seeking support, and students who are looking for opportunities. Next, please, 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 pay attention to your St. Thomas email. This is the way we communicate with you in an official capacity. Now, I know email may feel a little old school to some of you, but we can't fit everything in 140 characters or in a Snapchat or Instagram photo, so email is really important. You may have an email message waiting for you right now, and you may get an email message from faculty members asking you to do something even before the first day of the semester. And last but not least is enjoy the rest of your summer. You are getting ready to start a really terrific adventure, and all of us at St. Thomas are just really pleased that we get to be a part of it. So thanks, have a great day, and I'll see you either today or back on campus on September 1st.